At this point, we've been able to protect different routes by requiring users to only access them when they have provided a valid JWT. We've also looked at how we can use JWT claims that are present within a specific token to allow different users to access different tokens, or to basically control the access to some tokens basing on whether they have some claims or not. In this video, we're going to look at how we can give users access to a token or access to a route or an endpoint, just in case they have been able to have their token expired. Remember that our JWT access tokens are basically short-lived, and therefore we shall need a mechanism for us to generate new tokens. So we achieve this by using a refresh token. So remember where we created a JWT pair, what we did was to basically go ahead and log in, and what that would do is to go ahead and return for us a token pair. Now let me make this a little bit smaller so that you guys can see. But if you're to notice, we have two tokens. We have an access token and a refresh token. Normally, when you are having an application that requires access to different API endpoints, the access token is one that will give you that access to those specific endpoints. But for security reasons, we are always given a refresh token that is a little bit more short, more long-lived compared to the access token. So the purpose of the refresh token is to allow you to be able to create a new access token just in case the access token you're having is expired. So let's go ahead and look at how we can create a new access token. So to do that, what we're going to do is to head over to our VS Code. Now I'm going to go back to our auth module. So I'll look for our auth.py. And within auth, I'm going to implement another endpoint. So this endpoint, I'm going to basically come down here and I'll call this at app or at auth blueprint dot. In this case, we shall basically say that this is going to be our get method. So let's just call it a get method. And what we shall do in this case is to go ahead and call this our slash refresh endpoint. So what this is going to do is to simply create a new access token or refresh, or let's say refresh our access. So in here, what we shall first do is to decorate this so that we require JWT to access it. And basing on what we did in the previous videos, we're going to use the JWT required decorator. Now what we need to provide in here are some arguments. If you want to basically access this route by providing our refresh token, then all we have to do is to pass in an argument. So this is going to be our refresh, and we shall basically say that this is going to be true. And what this will allow us to do is to only access this endpoint once we provided a token, which is a refresh token. Now remember, when we get our JWT pair, we get an access token as well as a refresh token, but there are two tokens that are different even when we created them. If you haven't watched that video, there's a video, one of the previous videos I made on JWT claims. Please go ahead and watch it. So once we've got access and we provided a valid refresh token, the next thing is going to be for us to get the identity of that refresh token. Now the way we get the identity or the JWT subject of a specific JWT is by using the get JWT identity function. In the previous video, we looked at get JWT, which is a function that helps us to get the JWT claims. But just in case we don't want to get the claims or all of the claims, we can be able to use the get JWT identity function to help us be able to access the specific user to whom that token belongs to. Now what I'm going to do is to go and import that. So I'll come right here at the top. Now basically kind of format this so that it can appear on a new line. So what I'll do is to go ahead and put this on a new line, and once I've been able to do that, then I'm going to come right down here. And what I'm going to do is to come and say that we are also going to import another function. That function is going to be the JWT identity function. And what this will be responsible for is to help us get the username or the subject of that specific JWT. Now once we've been able to do that, I'll come down here And what we need to do is to get the identity. So the identity is simply the same as the subject that we use when creating the JWT. So I'll say that our identity is going to be a call to the get JWT identity function. And once we have this, we can go ahead and return it. So let me just go ahead and create a simple response. I'll say response JSONify, and in this case what I'll do is to go ahead and basically create a message, and the value of that message will be our identity. Now once I've been able to do that, I'm going to test this endpoint again, hoping that our server is running. So I'll go to our postman right here, and what I'll do is to create a new request, and I'm going to call this request our refresh, or we can actually say regain access. So let's just call this the regain access route, and what this is going to do is simply going to be a get request. So shall provide our URL, which is going to be localhost 5000/auth/login, or which is actually going to be our /refresh, just like you see right here. So shall say /refresh, and when you try to get this, we shall now be able to only access this when you provide a valid token. So let's go ahead and get our token. So I'm going to go where we created our JWT pair, and what I'll do is to go ahead and copy our refresh token. So copy our refresh token right here. I'll come and regain access. So to do that, I'm going to go to our authorization, and I'll select the authorization type as bearer token. So that means I have to go in here and provide a token. So I'll paste in the token that we've had, and when I send, we now see that we can now get the username who that token was issued to, or the user who is basically the identity of that JWT. So once we've been able to get this user, now all we need to do is to basically create new access tokens for that specific user. Now to create those access tokens, all we're going to do is to make use of our create access token function that's going to take in the identity of that specific user. So when you come right here in our code, we're going to come right here, and all you have to do is to basically create a new token. So to do that, we shall basically say that our access token, or let's actually say that this is going to be our new access token, is going to be equal to call to our create access token function, and inside here we shall have our identity being equal to the identity of that specific user. So once we've been able to get our user, then we can go ahead and try to basically provide JWT in our response. So we can come right here and say that this is going to be our new access token, and here instead of having our identity, we're going to have our new access token. So I'm going to go ahead and save, hoping that our server is still running, and once it's been able to reload, I'll go ahead and try to create a new refresh token, and now we can see that our access token has been created. So I'm going to copy this new access token, and once I copy it, I'll go back to where we had our expire token right here, and then I'll go ahead and try to basically provide a new token, and then try to get the current user, and now we see that the details are returned successfully.